Meeting to order. Great to be here live with everyone. And we have Pastor Bean here to say our prayer tonight. It's good to see Pastor Bean back.
Thank you. Happy New Year to everyone.
You as well.
New Year to you.
And please join in together with me tonight. I thought we would, I usually pray extemporaneously, but tonight we'll just do the Lord's Prayer. So if you would just join in with me in the prayer that Jesus taught his disciples. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Bean. Good to see you again.
Thank you, Singer.
Could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Scott, would you lead us off, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nina, would you please do the roll call?
Mayor Lynch.
Here.
Councilperson Alvarez.
Here.
Councilperson Zagorski. Here. Councilperson Geithurst.
Here. I can barely hear you.
Councilperson Williams.
Here.
Councilperson Goley.
Here.
Councilperson Zilli.
Here.
We have the approval of the minutes from the January 5th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or corrections to the minutes? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nina, you did not have to call the roll the first time.
Nice.
We have communications, correspondence, announcements from the mayor. I do have a couple of announcements. Our first announcement I'm going to let Ferdinand do. We have a proclamation this evening for the Director of Porter County Career and Technical Education, Audra Peterson. You can.
Is she here?
Yeah.
Good there. Where's the picture?
Good evening, folks. Thanks for coming out. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. City of Portage, Office of the Mayor, Portage, Indiana, proclamation To all whom these presents may come, greetings. Whereas February 1st through 28th, 2021 has been designated Career and Technical Education Month by the Association for Career and Technical Education. And whereas Career and Technical Education offers students the opportunity to gain the academic, technical, and employability skills necessary for true career readiness. And whereas students in career and technical education programs participate in authentic, meaningful experiences that improve the quality of their education and increase their engagement and achievement. And whereas career and technical education provides students with career exploration opportunities earlier in their educational experience, which enables them to make informed and beneficial decisions about their academic coursework and pursue established programs of study and career pathways. And whereas leaders from business and industry nationwide report increasing challenges related to addressing the skills gap and connecting qualified professionals with available careers in critical and growing CTE-related fields, including healthcare, automotive, diesel, construction, welding, graphic arts, dental careers, sports medicine, public safety, electronics, industrial maintenance, hospitality, personal services, horticulture, advanced manufacturing and information technology. And whereas Portage Township Schools has 300 students enrolled in 3-hour programs throughout Porter County, and does this say 3,089 students, including Fagley and Willow Creek Middle Schools, enrolled in 1-hour CTE courses with the district. And whereas career and technical education prepares students for these and other fulfilling careers by offering integrated programs of study that link secondary and post-secondary education and lead to the attainment of industry-recognized credentials. And whereas career and technical education programs ensure that employers have access to a qualified and thriving workforce, ensuring America is a strong and competitive economy. Therefore, Sue Lynch, Mayor of the City of Portage, does hereby proclaim the month of February 2021 as Career and Technical Education Month in the City of Portage, and urges all citizens to become familiar with the services and benefits offered by the career and technical education programs in this community, and to support and participate in these programs to enhance their individual skills and productivity. In testimony whereof, she has hereunto set her hand and caused to be affixed the Great Seal of the City of Portage on this date, February 2nd, 2021, signed by Clerk Treasurer Nina Rivas and Mayor Sue Lynch. On behalf of the city, congratulations to you and your organization.
Thank you. Audra, do you have anything you'd like to say?
May I say something? Thank you, Mayor Lynch, and thank you, members of the council. And I want to, we are very proud. This is my first 6 months here in Porter County. However, 20 years ago, I was actually a teacher at Portage High School in the health careers program. So I'm excited to be back in Porter County and have the opportunity to serve your students as well as the rest of the students in Porter County. And as a token of our appreciation, and I'll pass these along, and I also, Councilwoman Hurst is also, her daughter is a participant in one of our programs, so we're really excited. I was excited to find that out this evening as well. So we have some face masks that say I am CTE, so Indiana CTE, and we appreciate your support and taking the time out to do this evening.
Thank you so much for everything you do, Audra.
Okay. They've been doing a phenomenal job with the program, even through this whole COVID chaos and so forth, working with the kids. I'm very very grateful for it. And I mentioned also the principal of the school. Each morning, you'd see him out there greeting each of the kids coming through, and very impressed with the program. So thank you.
I'd also like to congratulate our Portage High School wrestling team who won their sectionals this last weekend. We're so excited for them, and we're very proud of them. I wish we could have them here tonight, but because of COVID, when we get a little less COVID, we will have our wrestlers in here. We wish them well as they move on toward the regionals. I spoke with the superintendent of schools today, and she will keep us posted as to when those will take place, and we will put that on the Indiana government page so everyone knows when those are. Also, the council got in their packet today, but I would like to let everybody know tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, the NERC is having, the NICD is having their public hearing on the transit development district that's going to be up north as part of the double tracking system, and Portage is very involved in that. We have over 300 acres involved in that, so we hope that you will tune in. It's our opportunity to make public comment, so if you need the link, but we can happily send that to you from the City Hall. We all have the link, so if you don't, Nina, I don't think we have the link here. There's
Additional packets.
okay, there's additional packets up at the podium. Thank you so much, Nina, for that. Also, I'd just like to take a minute to recognize our street department for the awesome job they did over the weekend. It isn't very often that we get 11 inches of wet, heavy snow here in our city, and so I'm going to be a little bit outspoken here right now. You know, it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback, and when you're sitting in a nice warm home to complain about our street department. But I have to stand up for them because they are truly awesome. Our streets were clean when other cities around us weren't. They did an amazing job. I am so proud of them. One of the struggles that they had, and it's an ordinance that we have, is that anytime there's 2 inches or more of snowfall, you are to remove your vehicles from the street. We had our police department, our awesome police department, our chief over there, they knocked on doors to help our street department, and they knocked on over 100 doors by noon on Sunday to try to get these cars off of the street so that our plows could get through a little bit faster. It's a monumental effort for them to have to steer around with that big piece of equipment to try to clear our streets. So we did not tow anybody, but we did try to get everybody to cooperate with us. That is an ordinance, and we hope that people will in the future recognize that they have to get their vehicle off the street. So once again, I just want to say thank you so much to our street department. You're an awesome team. You worked hard to get our city clean, and we really appreciate that. And we appreciate our police department helping them get their job done. So thank you so much, and that's really all that I have under communications. We have the clerk treasurer's report now.
I don't really have anything. I will have more for you next month as we close out the year. I'll have the annual report too. 100R was completed. That's about all I have to say with that. I did provide you all a report. I said last month I would give you a breakdown of what we've been paying for health insurance premiums. I believe, Sue, you had asked what the average increase was. So there's two different rates. It's broke down between bargaining and non-bargaining employees. The average over the years for non-bargaining is about 9% increase annually, and the average for bargaining is about 4.8%. So in 2020, the city paid $5,695,944 in premiums, which is an increase of $276,144 from last year.
Nina, can the 100R filing, could you just explain what that is, please?
So every year, on or before January 31st, we have to fill out a report of every employee that was paid by the city and what the amount was, and upload it to Gateway. That report kind of became a requirement after the legislators mandated that municipalities or any unit of government adopt a nepotism policy.
Thank you.
So just for the public, in 2015, we paid 3.8 million, almost 3.9 million in insurance premiums. And this year, with this past year in 2020, we paid almost 5.7 million. So you can see that those costs are really escalating, they're really costly to the city. So just like the public to know what's going on.
Nina, I did have a question. So on the plan rates, I'm just curious, why is it different departments have different rates for single plus one, and family? Am I looking at this right?
Say that again?
So like the rates listed here below, like one is, I'm looking at one, it's 762, but then I see 914 under fire. Is that,
Because
do they
they're
have
not
different?
bargaining 150.
Oh, okay, got it.
What was the answer? I didn't hear the answer.
Because Local 3151, the firefighters aren't, they don't bargain as 150 employees or in that union, so that's why.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nina, for that great report. We really appreciate that. We have reports from city officials. Chief Candiano, would you like to give your report?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Meeting, Chief.
Nice to see everybody, not be behind the screen. I sent to you all a report today. Did everybody get the crime report that I sent out?
Thank you.
Do you guys have any questions on that, first of all? So basically that's, kind of the major crimes that all departments report. So I kind of went through all that. The traffic numbers, you can see they were down last year. A lot of that had to do with the fact that during the heat of the COVID in the early spring, when there was a lot of unknowns, and when there was a lot of the lockdowns, there was a lot less traffic, so there was obviously a lot less interaction with the public as far as traffic stops and stuff. So a lot of those numbers are down, which then drove our overall incidents down last year. The interesting fact is that when I ran these numbers, like in June, we were way down. So the second half of the year, they made up for it. So we almost caught back up with where we were at in the years past. So as far as the other numbers, more population is going to cause fluctuating up and down. I think that we saw a lot this year with other counties and other states being shut down. We had a lot of out-of-town traffic. Our retail areas were packed, lots of visitors, so some of these are shoplifting, the retail thefts and things were up. I noticed a lot of the crimes of opportunity to unlocked cars, things like that. We had a lot of those this summer. People that were coming into the city from other areas, and like I said, the crimes of opportunity, getting into vehicles and things that were unlocked. So hopefully, we can curb some of that this year with people being more cautious on locking up their valuables and things. Two of the concerning ones for us, obviously, mental commitments were way up. I think a lot of that has to do with the year. Everybody, it was a rough year, and it shows. So you can see the numbers there. And then, unfortunately, a growing trend in our country and in our area, the officers assaulted. We had 15 officers assaulted last year. It is, February 2nd, we've already had 2 this year. So hopefully that's a trend that doesn't continue, but I've been watching the local area of the news, and it's just, there's some concerning things out there for what I'm seeing. So hopefully that doesn't continue, but just something to keep an eye on. So as far as January, our incidents for January 2021, we're at 2,935, so that's about 95 incidents a day. 2020 was 2,900, so about 35 more, so pretty much right on par. In addition to that, like the mayor mentioned, we spent our weekend trying to assist the street department with getting vehicles moved. There were about 150 contacts at least that our officers made. There were a few citations that were issued. I think there were a few impounds for those who did not want to cooperate. Hopefully we can get that word out there that just it's they can't do their job, we can't do our job unless people are getting those vehicles off the road. So hopefully we don't have any more snow, but if we do, hopefully we'll get a little bit more buy-in next time. So some training hours for last year, we ended up having 5,192 hours of training. So it's a big number. A lot of that includes the academy graduates. So you figure they're there for, 14 weeks now, I think. So a lot of hours there. And then each officer has to do 24 hours of mandated training through the state. So that being said, I'm pretty proud of the fact that we were able to get that much training with COVID. It was hard to get trainers. It was hard to get people to training. Some of the financial restrictions that we had last year as far as spending money for training. So a lot of this stuff we found online. We found, train the trainer type things where we had officers that came in and did the training. So pretty happy to see that those numbers were that high. And then so far this year, we've done 27 hours of training. So in addition to that, we're working on putting together some de-escalation and use of force training. We're working with the MAC. I think some of you did a tour out there. Was it last year? I've lost track of time.
Good.
So we're looking to do some training out there, which would be some realistic training. When we get that set up, we will probably reach out to you and invite you all to come out if you'd like to see what kind of stuff we're doing. So keep that in the back of your mind. Staffing, currently have 3 officers at the Northwest Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, 1 in the field training program who should be released here in a couple of weeks. We have 1 out on leave currently, pending separation. Believe that he will be leaving here shortly, and 1 on vacation, pending his retirement. So he's riding his time out, and he will be out of here soon. So with those 2 leaving, we've got 2 individuals who are on our hiring list and have been approved by PERF. So if everything works out, we will have some people to replace those once they leave. So unfortunately, the monthly COVID report is actually pretty good. We currently have 0 officers out on quarantine, and our officers have begun getting the vaccine. We've got a handful that have received both doses. So good for us, helps protect us and also the public, because as with the fire department, we're going into people's homes. So excited that we will have some protection. So. And I think they rolled it out to 65 and older as of yesterday. So slow process, but it seems to be finally coming around. So it's good news. And then lastly, a couple items of recognition. So our department, the Porter Township Schools and the Porter County Sheriff's Department have been working together on a plan for reunification in response to a crisis at the high school or Porter Township Schools in general. So this could be a weather incident, could be a man-made incident, something like that. So, we always train for, you hear terms like active shooter and things like that, but what happens after that? What do you do with the kids? How do you get them back with parents? Things like that. That's things that are not necessarily always thought about. So I got to thank some people that were involved in that. Obviously, a lot of people at the school, but from the police side, our SRO, Trent Howard, and Mike Stagey from the Sheriff's Department put in a ton of work. I won't go into the details of the plan, because obviously I don't share that, but they put together a great plan, and I know they put a ton of work into it, and we've been going back and forth through that over this month, so I just wanted to give them a shout out. So very impressed with what they did. And then we recently gave an award to Officer Alistair Dowds. So he was working midnights. We gave him the Honorable Service Award for an investigation he did. So he gets a call of a theft of a credit card. The victim is an out-of-town visitor right before the holidays, staying in one of our hotels. So as the night progresses, this guy starts getting notifications of his credit card being used all around town. So Officer Dowds he starts going to the different locations, trying to find out if they've got surveillance footage. So eventually, this card gets used at one of the gas stations in town. He goes in, finds surveillance video of this car, and somehow he remembers that earlier in the night, as he was driving through the hotels, he recognized the car. They go back to the hotel, and lo and behold, there's the guy sitting in the car, and they end up solving the crime. So this person was just ecstatic that they had recovered the property or his credit card, solved the crime. Like I said, it was right before Christmas. It sent me a very nice long email about how it reflected so well on us in the department and the city. So we bestowed upon him an award. So I just wanted to, I always like to give some shout outs to our people. So wanted to do that. And then lastly, on a sad note, a longtime volunteer for the city, Carl Blank, passed away today. Carl volunteered his time to the city, first as a member of the Civil Defense and then later as a member of the Portage Police Department Reserves for over 31 years. So we were looking up some statistics here, and during that time, Carl donated over 22,000 hours of free service to the city. So never got paid, 22,000 hours he donated. So to put that in perspective, if you're figuring 8-hour shifts, like a normal 8-hour workday, that would be 2,750 days that he donated to the city. So pretty remarkable. So on behalf of the city and Portage PD, thank you, Carl, and he'll be missed. So once we hear about arrangements, we'll put that out to you guys. So that is all I've got. Anybody got any questions?
Just a comment. Sure. Great report, Chief. I know obviously this snow situation can be challenging for everybody. I have never seen a sign posted in our city, as you see in many cities, about the ordinance. That's part of the problem, that I don't think the community is aware of the 2-inch requirements. Yeah. So I would hope maybe the Traffic Commission, Deb, maybe you could look into that. I know it's a cost, but I think it's important that we make our citizens aware of what they have to comply with. And common sense would say I'd get my car off the street. It's probably more neighborhood related than it is obviously major thoroughfares. It's neighborhoods. And that's where it's more difficult and challenging to maneuver these snowplows.
Right.
So maybe we ought to look at something that we can get posted throughout the city so the community knows that please, that you're subject to a fine, subject to having your car towed. It's not going to totally solve the problem, but I think it's going to communicate to the residents.
So that was one of the things that came up in a lot of the encounters with people yesterday, was that statement of we didn't realize there was an ordinance.
No, I'm sure.
And we pushed it out on Facebook a couple weeks ago when we had a snowstorm that did not happen. I don't know how many people are seeing that. I believe we did an all call that day also. I don't know what fraction of people you're getting through to that. So I'd leave that up to your guys' thoughts on that.
Tomorrow, so we can certainly.
Yeah, if you could look into. Thanks, Deb. Thanks.
Maybe it would be helpful if you can just figure out where the biggest problem areas were this time, so we know where to start. I mean,
Everywhere.
I assume we wasn't everywhere.
Okay. I mean, I know it sounds like a smart remark, but it literally, when I was communicating with Randy and then when our officers were in the neighborhoods, and what we got feedback from Facebook was it was everywhere, and that was part of our problem, which I'm sure it was theirs, was we had X number of officers out, and we hit a neighborhood, but with the call volume still, obviously it was a snowstorm, so we couldn't get the whole city, and unfortunately there wasn't a whole lot of compliance.
You didn't have enough manpower to get
there wasn't a whole lot of compliance anywhere, so yeah, maybe we can come up with something, but I think we did, between the two departments, we did the best we could this week.
I'm sure you did.
Mm-hmm. You did.
Anything else?
I had a question, Chief, regarding the incident at the skate rink. Are there any plans for increased patrols or increased safety measures? I have had some emails from some residents who are concerned, rightfully so.
Yeah, so I mean, we obviously we understand that's been an area of concern a couple times within the year. It is a private business. We do not provide security or work there, so we have made it a priority to have a presence in the area. Obviously, it's on Route 6. It's a major thoroughfare. So there's been some discussions within the city with some of the city officials. They're sitting here on what we can and can't do. So yeah, we've done some things. It's a priority. There's been some discussions. So maybe we can talk later, and I can share some of that with you. And,
Sounds good.
But yeah, it's definitely on the radar. And I think, again, there's a lot of issues that have tied into that. We're getting an influx of visitors that probably are not usually coming, bigger crowds because things are shut down, and it's boiled over a couple times. So, but it's definitely something that we're looking at, and we are definitely in the area. So,
thank you.
They did have Portage PD working part-time security, right?
at one time, yes, yes. up until mid-fall-ish.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you, Chief.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Great job.
Thank you.
Chief Wilkening.
Good evening. I finally get to see everybody in person, my first one.
Don't tear the
I'm
place apart.
gonna break something, so.
You don't break anything.
I'm gonna try. I'm not promising anything, I am a firefighter, so it's my nature. I sent a report to you guys this afternoon. Hope everybody got it. First of all, I want to talk about the snow event. I want to give Randy an awesome shout out because we had no problems during the snow event. We were able to get to all of our calls and we had no problems. Nobody got stuck. So everything went well. So that was greatly appreciated that they kept everything clear for us. In January, we had 470 total calls. That's a little bit down for us from November and December, but those 2 months were pretty busy for us. So we broke some records then. And even with that, we're still on pace for well over 5,000 calls this year. So it's getting pretty busy out there for us. Out of those 470, 339 of them were ambulance calls. So our ambulances are being kept busy. As Chief Candiano said, we too have minimum training requirements, so we have to train as far as EMS and also firefighting, so we do that every week. And our crews have been doing a really good job. Our instructors, we do most of our own classes, and they've done a really good job of doing it virtually. So we've been able to keep the guys in the stations, and it's something that in the future we're going to work on, and it's going to become our norm. So instead of getting everybody together all the time, we can do it virtually, and it'll really help us out in the long run. As far as COVID goes, we had a good month in January. We had no positive COVID cases in the department amongst our firefighters, so that's been awesome. And I can't give you exact numbers, don't really know, but a lot of our firefighters have been getting their first and second vaccinations. So that's progressing well. So we've done a good job of getting our people in. We did also, Assistant Chief Kodacek was able to secure flu vaccinations. So we still have some left over that we've been administering them to all the city employees at no cost. So and our people are doing them. So if any of the city people still need the flu vaccination, then they can come to the fire station, call Fire Station 1, and we can get it done for them. We did obtain an ATV from the U.S. Park Service. It was an older used one, but it's still in good shape, and it was at no cost, so they just said come get it. So we are utilizing that. So that's our second ATV, and we use that for as far as dive call outs on the beach, things of that nature. It's a big help, and then also rails to trails. So any of those places we can't fit our ambulance down, so it's great to get one of those ATVs and go down there. And usually we get help with the police department, and they have theirs also. And between that, we can usually get the people out with no problem. Also down in Imagination Glen, some of those trails back there are really rough, and usually it's some kind of orthopedic injury, so it makes extricating them out of there difficult. So these vehicles were a big help, and we're appreciative of the U.S. Park Service to let us have one. As far as our manpower goes, we did have one firefighter resign, and we have 2 that are retiring in the near future. So right now we are in the process of hiring 3 new firefighters. It takes a while for them to get through perf and everything. So by the time they're all done, and our career academy will be starting middle of March. So we'll be sending everybody to the academy then, and by then everybody should be processed, and then we'll be able to send them. We're still working on some FEMA grants. We have some
pretty big opportunities if we were able to get them. Did have a meeting with the mayor, and next week we're going to meet with Mayor and Councilperson Podgorski about feasibilities and everything, and try to get those balls in motion. So it would be a really big help, and we could get a lot of stuff done with FEMA grants. Another thing that happened that was pretty good for us is we were contacted by the Porter County Substance Abuse Council. They have a new coalition, and they got a federal grant for it, and they're trying to get Portage and Valpo and Chesterton involved in trying to do kind of like a think tank on different ways to help with substance abuse in the county and what communities can do and things of that nature. So they invited us, and myself and Assistant Chief Kodacek are on that. So it was great for us. And during our conversation, we also talked about we get quite a few phone calls about people with used needles and what did they do with used needles. And the hospital was taking them, and now with COVID, they're really not letting people in. And so these people, especially with loved ones that have passed away that were diabetics, and they have just containers full of used needles. And we were able to talk to them, and they have a program where they have used needle containers and cabinets that they will bring to the facility. So right now we're in the process of working to try to get one of those cabinets for our Portage Fire Station 1. So once we get that, we'll let everybody know, and then if people have used needles, they can come take them, and then the council contracts somebody to come, hazardous waste, to come pick it up. So at no cost to us. So it's a really big help to the community. Last thing I want to bring up is we did have 2 of our firefighters receive awards this past week. We have quite a few of our firefighters involved with District 1 training, which is through the state, and they do a lot of the training at the MAC, and a lot of people are involved. And this week they gave out their awards for the past year, and Chris Crail, he was awarded the Instructor of the Year out of the entire district. So we're pretty proud of him. And then also Captain Tom Pfeiffer was named Evaluator of the Year. So out of everybody in the 1st district, we have 2 award winners. So that's pretty impressive. So I'm proud to be a member of the department, proud to be a member of the city, and I said, finally, I get to see you guys. So do you have any questions for me?
I just want to say thank you, Randy, because I know our fire department is revered out at the MAC facility. And I did tour the MAC facility, and I mean, it's an amazing facility, and all of our firefighters are trained out there. If you get the opportunity to go out there and see what they're doing out there, it's amazing. But I was out there the day Chris Crail was training, and I mean, it was like 90 degrees out, and he was working hard. Let's just put it that way. I mean, it's a great facility. We're so honored to have it here in Northwest Indiana. But Portage Fire is a huge part of that. So we're very proud of you, and they just love you guys.
It was a pretty big deal because we fought, all the fire departments in the area fought, because unlike the police department, we don't have a state academy where, you know, once we hire a new firefighter, we can just send them to the state academy. We used to have to do all of our own, and we kind of helped spearhead a career academy with the full-time departments. We started working with Michigan City, Valpo, Chesterton, and just the other departments around the area. We started doing our own, and then once the MAC came into play, then that started doing the career academy, and actually Chris Crail is the commander of the career academy, so that's another benefit of us. So
Yeah. Excellent. Great.
all righty,
Thank you so much.
have a good night.
Thank you, Randy.
Randy, our superintendent from the street department, who probably hasn't slept very much in the last few days.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, for those kind words earlier. Thank you, City Council members. Month of January was, we had a total of 6 winter events, including this one we're including into January, since it started in January and ended in February. But I just want to thank all the street personnel that spent hours in that equipment, manning it. Without them, we never got the streets cleared. We do thank the police department for coming out and assisting us and getting some of those vehicles removed from the roads. But everyone did a great job this winter event here. So we did use about 1,700 tons of salt during the month of January, not this last storm, but during those 6 events. We did man during January about 1,600 hours. So just think about that. You're in these plow trucks and you're driving. We usually set up 12-hour shifts with the trucks, so it's easier on the guys. We don't work like a double 8s. So we always keep them around 12 hours. Most of those snowfalls took place like on a Saturday and Sunday. So that's very costly. Just to give you a brief history of our road salt ordering, I did send those reports like in 2018, 2019. The city spent about a little over $300,000 in salt. Last year, we spent about almost $250,000 worth of salt. This year, the actual contract from last year went down, and we're using Cargill, but we got 4,000 tons reserved through the state bid contract. So right now, we've used approximately maybe about 1,700 of that, or about almost 2,000 tons. So, but we did do an all-call yesterday. I don't know if everyone received that or not, but just telling residents, keep your vehicles off the road, and Councilperson Williams, we're going to look into that signage. I think that's a very good idea.
Thank you.
Going forward. We'll look at the cost of that as well. Maybe we could utilize some of the other signs within those neighborhoods and post those. But the traffic meeting is Thursday at 11 a.m. So 9 a.m. Thursday.
Early meeting.
So yes. So with that said, we've gone through the leaf season. I did have a final report for the 2020 and all the stuff that we've collected. It came to about 24,317 tons that the street and sanitation hauled somewhere. And that's either to the compost site or to the transfer station with a diversion rate of 40% going to recycle. So that's 60% of what we collected ended up in the landfill. We want to make that a better number this year. One of the main things was we had a very successful leaf season back in 2020, and we had, I just want to give a shout out to Alta Equipment Supplies. They really helped us out in a time of COVID when we were not able to find parts for our leaf vacs. They came through, they found the tubes, they found the impellers, the shields, and they really helped us out in a time of need in some of our equipment. So last month for January, our landfill was a total of $65,288.14. It is consistent with the numbers, but with our contract every year, it does go up slightly. So right now we're paying $57.11 a ton to get rid of our garbage for the city of Portage. I think that's about it. We received 646 phone calls within the office, 138 drive-ins. We had 220 voice messages, 312 emails, and it just goes on. But anyways, we're very busy. We found ourselves to be busy. Hopefully February, we do have another storm coming this Thursday and Friday. It looks about maybe 2 to 3 inches. I just want to thank all the residents of Portage for being patient with us and supporting us, and some of them had some very kind compliments for our street department, and I just want to thank them for that. Any questions?
Yeah, Randy. Oh.
Chief Candy Allen said earlier we weren't going to get any more snow.
Well, I hope that's true. I do. Oh, one other thing, the Board of Works did approve us to go seek out grants for our sanitation department. There are several grants we're looking into. I will keep that up to speed. That is in its very early beginning stages right now. I do have with Ryan from Clean Cities. He's coming and doing an audit on our sanitation equipment this Friday, so I'll be meeting with him and that's good news. So very good. Some great grants to be offered right now. There is one grant that is an 80-20 match for equipment, so very positive there. Any questions?
Yeah, Randy, quick question. In terms of 2019 versus 2020, from the toters at the curb, do you know what our increase was in total tonnage?
Well, just this month we processed about 78 toters. There are some subdivisions that are I would say we've added to our Thursday trash route, we've added probably anywhere from 2019 to 2020. I could safely say we've added about 400 stops. So to that area, a lot of new homes going in. We have a new subdivision going in right there at Luton Airport.
174 homes.
And that's just going to add to the volume of our Thursday. We're looking at maybe possibly taking some of our Tuesday route or our Thursday and switching it to our Tuesday route to relieve Thursday's trash day. So.
Okay. So in terms of total tonnage for the year, I assume we increased 2019 over to 2020.
I did send a spreadsheet. We're looking at probably,
I didn't see
I think it was about a 10 or 15% increase in volume compared to last year. Now, last year was very unique because of COVID. Everyone was home, everyone was cleaning out their garage, doing all kinds of projects to their home, and adding a lot of tonnage there. So,
thank you.
Randy, what's the percentage of toters that you have to confiscate because people are not doing what they're supposed to? Do you have a rough?
Last year for our recycling, we confiscated almost 200 toters.
200 toters for
So,
people using them for garbage instead of proper recycling.
The Greenwood
That is
toters,
correct,
right?
yeah.
The Greenwood.
Or for their mailbox.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had one toter
Or
turned
use one for
upside down with the
mailbox,
mailbox on top of it. Randy, I just want you to explain one thing to the council because you've been very good about explaining things to me. So when I get a call from a resident saying, look, I was driving by and there was a plow truck just sitting there doing nothing. Would you explain why that happens and why that won't happen if we had CNG plow trucks?
Yeah, right now the grants that we're looking at is compressed natural gas. Currently right now our entire fleet is diesel and it's newer diesel trucks and they have it's called a DEF system, and that's diesel emission fluid. And what that does is it burns out the particulates of the diesel fuel to make it more clean. The only way our trucks, both sanitation and our plow trucks, can complete that DEF or that regen system is to park that truck. When the truck calls for it, there's a light that shows up on the dash. They have to park that truck, press that button so that the regen could happen. That truck will sit there and will idle up, heat up the engine, start the DEF, burn off those particulates of the fuel, and clean the engine. That takes anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. So sometimes you will find a plow truck sitting in an empty lot, just sitting there, and it'll be idling high. And sometimes we get those calls, we do check on that, and we call that driver, yeah, I'm sitting here at so-and-so, and right now my truck's in regen. And so they have to complete that regen on that system. Because if they continue, what's going to happen is that the truck will go into default, shut it down, and then it becomes very expensive to fix. So a lot of people aren't aware of that.
That's good to know.
Yeah. And there's more stricter standards coming down on the trucking system, on the trucking industry. So compressed natural gas gets rid of all that. So.
And in terms of cost for CNG vehicles, I assume they're more than a diesel vehicle, but we probably see savings over the life of the vehicle.
Yes,
right?
yes, you will. So, and that's in fuel, that's in employee hours. I mean, we don't pay an employee to go fill the truck every day. They'll just plug that in right at the department, and then in the morning they got full tanks.
And the wear and tear.
So, And just the regen, if you think about an employee sitting there for 45 minutes to an hour waiting for their truck to regen, we're not paying that labor cost in CNG.
Right.
So,
So for the CNG, we would have to, we don't have the facilities currently.
no, we're looking into infrastructure grants and also equipment grants. So,
And just to let you know, I don't know how many of you remember the major Volkswagen lawsuit that was years ago where Volkswagen had to pay out $15 billion. This is the last year you can get Volkswagen grants. This is the final year, no more Volkswagen grants. And that's a pretty hefty grant. Thank you, Randy. Does anybody else have questions?
I have a question, Superintendent Reeder, regarding, sorry to make you jump from topic to topic, but back to recycling. Last year, we increased our awareness campaign on social media and let people know what goes in the green toters and what does not. Has there been any type of results, or have there been any type of results from that? Anything that's been noticeable, or are there just 200 fewer green toters out there?
just with the audits that Republic Services have inspected on our loads, there was a time and period that they were not taking them, and as the trucks came in, they inspected those loads and they seen them cleaner, and then they started receiving them again. So we did do a turnaround there. I would like this year again to send out that letter and continue those educational efforts in recycling.
That leads to my second question. Would it be possible to do the same type of awareness campaign for the black toters? Because I know sometimes, and guilty as charged, sometimes I'm not sure what goes in, or, for example, I had a constituent contact me, can I put ashes from my bonfire in the garbage can? And I said, well, it's
glowing.
Is it in a bag? If it's in a bag,
No.
if it's not, and I told her just to dump it in her yard. She didn't want to do that, but those are the kind of questions that I think residents may have, and even just a social media post sometimes can go a long way in clarifying
Yes.
some issues people might have. So I was just throwing that out there.
Yes, just make sure those hot ashes are no longer hot, then you'll be fine. Yeah, but you can throw those into your black liquid toter.
Does it
As
have
long
to
as
be
it's
in a
big.
bag of some
Yeah.
sort, or what? Can anything go in there loose?
The only thing we try to avoid in our black liquid toters is like brick, stone, dirt, grass.
Things that would damage the trucks.
Everything else you can throw away. Household trash, always.
And no hazardous items, right?
Say it again?
No, none of the hazardous
No
items,
hazardous.
paints,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no hazardous.
So if someone were to have, and I'm sorry if this is a silly question, if they had like a wood trimmings or something like that, would they just put that on bulk day out on the curb?
Yeah, if it doesn't go inside the toter, you could put it on bulk day, amnesty day. So,
Thank you much.
okay.
Thank you, Randy.
All right.
Thank you, Randy.
Thanks, Randy.
Did I miss anybody? I don't think so, but I'd always like to ask. We have reports of...
Mayor, quickly, from the RDC, is it possible to just get an update for the council?
The
from you?
RDC, AJ is going to have a very comprehensive report
Okay.
at the March meeting. There are a couple of things that we're still like in the process doing. So I'm expecting AJ to give quite a lengthy report at the March meeting.
Works for me.
Yeah, I talked to him today, but he said there's still a few things that aren't quite finalized, and he didn't want to go over those, but they will be finalized at the next RDC meeting, so we'll do them then.
Excuse me, Mayor, do we have anyone here from the Park Department that can speak for Superintendent Wilkie? I know she's not able to make it tonight.
Right. No, I don't think we do. Did you have a question?
Just had received a complaint or a concern from a constituent about safety at Olson Park, tripping hazard as far as the railings, the gate near the picnic area, and then also just a question about Founders Square. I know this is a warm weather conversation, but a few months back, there had been some concern about Founders Square either at nighttime or just, you know, the condition of it, I guess you could say. And there was supposed to be a plan put together, and I was just wondering if there had been any update on when the weather gets nicer, which will be before we know it, just if there was any
A
information
plan
about
put
that.
together as to,
As just a plan, I remember Superintendent Wilkie had mentioned, you know, we're putting together a plan with the police department as far as to keep the park safe and free from trouble, or any type of, you know, incidents like that. I was just wondering if there was any updates on that.
do you have any update, Chief Candiano?
We had discussed, I believe back in the fall, and she had reached out to us with some concerns, and we had given some suggestions on some different things. I'm not sure where it went after that, to be honest with you. There were 4 or 5 suggestions that we put in place, some different things that we could do. One of the biggest concerns was just that a lot of it is people congregating after hours, after dark when the park's closed. So we made some suggestions on signage to alert people when the park closed, some things to do with surveillance, video and things like that. So don't want to speak for the park on exactly where that's at, but there were some things that we would ask to be put in place, which would then give us some ability to enforce some different things. So I can tell you that side from our end, but
And like, you know, middle of winter, I know that's not a priority at the moment, but, you know, it'll be warm before we know it, believe it or not. So I just wanted to know if anything had been, but thank you.
Chief, on that note, just curious, which is preferred, lighting the park, making it brighter at night, or not making it brighter? Which is preferred from a safety standpoint?
I would say brighter is always going to be better.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that just draws more people, so then...
It might draw more people, but that being said, it's harder to not be seen doing
Right.
Mischievous things. You know, I mean, with all the businesses and things there and all the residential, you're probably more likely to be seen. You know, like I remember some of the vandalism that was done there last year. You know, some of the signage and stuff that was tore down. I can't see that not being reported in progress if people had seen that going on, which would have probably helped with, like, you know, like you're saying, if it had been a little more visible. That's my personal opinion on that. Lighted areas and things like that you're less likely to have incidents of vandalism taking place. So,
Mayor, I wonder if that's with the RDC and the work we're doing at Founders Square is something we can look at is lighting the entire park more. Because I know it is quite dark through there. We just have the street lights, so maybe getting more lights in the park would help.
And I think, Ferdinand, there will be more of a report with AJ next month on what's going to happen at Founders Square. There's going to be some construction going on over there, so hopefully that might help out too. But yes, you're right, Colin, maybe we should talk to AJ about adding some more lighting while we're in the process of making some changes over there.
Mayor, on the Olson Park thing, that resident sent it to me as well as Ferdinand.
Myself too.
And you. So I've talked to Lori, and Lori is supposed to be dealing with that, and Randy is working on the second part of that, which is the stop sign, right?
The street sign.
Street sign.
Which, I guess, Randy...
Somebody shortened it, or...
Yeah, what happened there? I haven't driven by it to see.
How they did that.
Thank you, Chief.
While I have you here, I might as well ask as opposed to emailing you.
You're talking right there at Olson Park?
No, the street sign, a resident said that it's like super short.
Yes, at Olson Park.
Yeah, it's a stop sign.
Right, but it's on Mulberry, I think. They said it's like shortened?
No, it's one of our old signs. It's
Okay.
on one of the old posts. I mean, it's been there for
Inner-
30 years.
Yeah, the
Got
sign
it.
at the intersection of Fallen Timbers and Mulberry is shorter than normal.
Yes.
Okay.
It is off the road. I took documented some pictures and sent them in and recorded it, but it is on our list of replacement this spring.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
we're not going to do it right now because the ground's frozen.
Right.
We can call locates and just, there's other signs in the area that we could probably update at the same time. So it'd be cost effective to do that as well. So.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
We have reports from standing committees.
We will be setting an ordinance committee meeting, notify the members and reach out to them, and when we're available, and we'll have a report at our March meeting.
Thank you, Scott. Deb, Budget Committee, do you?
You know, Nina pretty much covered it until we get the final end of year, then we'll go forward and see what is the next thing we need to do.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. There is no unfinished business. New business, we have introduction of ordinances. Colin?
We don't have any ordinances on the agenda for tonight.
No, we don't. Well, I saw one in here on nepotism.
Oh, those are the annual forms that the
Okay.
council needs to fill out, so just make sure you fill those out and get those to Nina.
Okay.
It was
So
just
she
the
has those
original
on file.
creation of the ordinance, the adoption, when it was done.
Do you want to make sure everybody knows what that is, Nina?
So the ordinance is in Dropbox. It was adopted years ago. It's required if the municipality didn't adopt it, the DLGF wouldn't approve your budget. It's just, we can't contract with relatives or hire relatives and being in direct line of supervision. It's the standard for the state, that's all.
So please fill out those forms.
Yeah, you have to attest to it that you have complied every year, that's all.
Okay. Everybody get your forms to Nina, or she will have the form police coming after you. We have petitions, remonstrances, and public input. Is there any public who would like to make a comment? Please state your name, address, and keep your comments to about 2 minutes.
Reverend Michael Cooper, 5455 Clem Road here in Portage. Mayor Lynch, at last month's meeting, Attorney Whitten made a comment about courtesy. Since that pontification was directed at me, I would like to briefly respond to his statement made to the public before this council. I can assure Attorney Whitten that electoral courtesy is not required, and given my past and recent treatment by this body, misdirected. I've stood before this body and was shouted down by a mob while 2 city councilors on this council clapped their hands. When elected members of the city council on Facebook mobilized vigilantes into this very chamber of our city council, orchestrated a situation where a pit bull stood behind me while I gave public comment, where I even wondered if I was ever going to get out of this room alive. A situation initiated Mayor Lynch by one who, as of last night, has positioned himself on 3 boards of this city. It is almost if he is running for mayor. Apparently, to Attorney Whitten, this is a courtesy that this body offers to its residents. If Attorney Whitten feels the need to lecture the residents of the city on courtesy, I believe that Attorney Whitten should start with those who are sitting on this very council. Mayor Lynch, 3 months ago, I emailed a question to you, to Nina, for presentation to this board about your administration's plan for the business park redevelopment zone along Old Porter Road. The concerns and questions that I had have not been answered. Since several of our council members like to stress the importance of jobs in Portage, perhaps they too would be interested into why the last 2 developments out of the planning process created 0 jobs in Portage. In an area that should be an economic driver for our city, will now be a 4-acre parking lot for boats, and across the street, a 4-acre storage lot for construction material. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
I do. So I don't recall ever lecturing you on anything, much less courtesy, so I take exception.
There was a comment.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I didn't interrupt you. Please give me the same courtesy. So I do not recall lecturing you at any time in any meeting about courtesy, although I do expect myself and others to be courteous in front of the board. So if you took exception to that, or thought it was directed at you, I apologize. It certainly was not. All right?
Thank you, Attorney.
Are there any other questions? Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to make a comment? If not, are there any other matters to come before the City Council?
I wanted to read a quick letter that I received, directed with the Parks Department, so forth. We had a teenager from Portage that was she was doing some volunteer stuff at the parks, and I just wanted to read real quick a part of the letter that I received, thanking you for providing guidance and expertise to Margaret Schmidt as she worked towards her Girl Scout Gold Award. It is the highest award a senior or ambassador Girl Scout can earn. Margaret has completed her final report and seeks the verification before submitting it to the council for review and approval, and this was her last step. And I put that in, and I just wanted to just acknowledge just some of the amazing teams that we have here in our town, and thanking her for everything that she did with that project with the parks.
And she did a great job.
Yeah.
She did. We hope she'll come back and do more of that, because she really did a great job.
And she had a lot of friends that helped her too. It was cool.
Is there anything else the council would like to bring up? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The meeting is closed. Thank you, everyone. It was nice to see you all.